Hello everybody, welcome to another Trahan Creek Outdoors video. My name is Bill. In this video we're going to do part 2 of our 1985 Yamaha restoration series. Now this is a long delayed project because if you've been a member of my channel for a while, you know I posted part 1 on March 7th, 2020. It is now December 26th, I think, and it is 2022. So it's been a while, about close to 3 years, since I posted anything on that restoration project. The project has been stalled for that time, but we have kicked it off and we're moving forward. So join me now for part 2. In part 2, we will get into the basic work to check the unit out, see how it was operating. Part 1, we just kind of washed it and cleaned it up and took it for a little test spin. It did crank and run, but now we're digging into the actual parts and looking at them to see how well it's been maintained and what we're going to have to do to get started work on it. So join us as we go forwards. For those of you who are curious, the model number for my unit is YFM200, and there's an initial N. N as in Nancy that goes behind that. And mine is a 1985 model. It originally looked pretty much just like what you see in the picture. Start our efforts by taking the seat off. I'll show you the seat release lever in a minute. If you don't know where that is, it'll help you get the seat off for sure. But it's easier to show you that once I get the plastics, which is the back fender that we're taking off. Now to do that, let's see if you can see down here, right there, that little clip clips through here and holds that plastic on. So what you've got to do is release it and move it to the outside. Move this part of the plastic right here from being within there to the outside so you can lift up. I'll do the same thing over here on this side, which none of that's real easy to do holding the camera. So I'm going to have to shut the camera off temporarily. And when you're done, you should wind up with it on this side of the plastic instead of on that side of the plastic. As I say, kind of go a little careful doing that. And then work it out from the two little pieces there. And once you've cleared these two supports right here, once this is cleared there, then it's just a matter of picking up your rear fender plastic and removing it. All right, now you're down to some frame components and you can kind of see where things stand a little bit better. The battery's over here, mounted in a little carrier compartment. Kind of nice because you really can get to it if you have to without taking the plastics off. You can kind of get to it a little bit at least. Now let me show you that rear release lever. The rear release lever on the seat is right back here. The seat turns upside down and that lever catches right there below the camera. Right there is where the seat lever catches when the seat is put in the proper position. And it just snaps down and holds it on. So to get it off, you reach back up under here, find the seat lever, pull it toward you, and that releases the seat, and it comes right up at that point. Okay, you get the idea. Just comes off. Do what you want to with it at that point. Just to take a look inside the air breather box here and see what we got. Not expecting good results necessarily, but we'll just find out. You got 4 screws to loosen and then take out and open the box cover. Let's do that next. Okay, maybe we can kind of get a little look-see here. See if I can get a good camera shot of it. That's about the best I'm going to be able to do for you guys. Kind of hard to do. You got a little area there that says upper. That's what goes at the top. Look at here. Someone has put in a decent filter and changed it fairly recently. Probably before they sold it to me, so I wouldn't see what it looked like originally. Yeah, well, dirty on the end. That tells me an awful lot. To see what's back up in the air breather compartment. Maybe I can get my light down in there. You can kind of see there is some dirt and a little bit of accumulated water in the bottom. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. I don't know if you can or not. And there you can see the water at the bottom right there. That's accumulated from the wash. Don't really like that, because if water's getting in, then that means if you were to be in water, in a creek or something like that, water can get in now with nothing but a water hose. It can get in and fill up that compartment and drown out your machine. So that's just not a good thing to find out. We're going to have to do some further work to figure out what might be leaking. May need to be sealed some. Don't know. But I'll do a little cleanup in there real quick and progress forwards. All right, we're going to regroup and rethink. When I got to actually touching the air filter, it's disintegrated. What somebody did is probably wash it out with some type of solvent, put it back in here, and say we're going forwards. But as you see, it's just disintegrating by touching it, much less being a solid, good filter. So, nope, I am replacing the filter. No question about it. That's the first step, by the way, when you're doing some troubleshooting on any kind of engine, is be sure that you get the air filter in good, solid condition before you start running the engine much. What you've got going through your air filter is getting sucked into your engine. And, you know, it's got to have the air to go. So it won't run right. You cannot tune one right unless you've got a properly breathing engine. So get your engine to breathing right first, then work on other parts of it. But we are proceeding on. What I'm doing is moved over to the oil filter cover. And this comes off with 3 hex bolts. Not necessarily easy to get out. You will notice here, this is the brake connector to the rear brake. This has to be taken off in order to get enough room to be able to put your hex key in to get to the bolt behind it. There's a lower bolt right where my finger points, right there. I think you can see it, but the brake mechanism is in the way. So in order to get it out, you got to take the brake apart. Obviously, this tells me, and with the tightness and the rustiness, so to speak, of these screws, I'm expecting to find nobody's changed the oil filter in a while. I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. This top left bolt, by the way, is like a 4.5 foot long bolt. You will twist it until you think the cows have gone home. But there it is. If you'll notice, that's the length of that bolt. Crazy, isn't it? All right, we'll let those soak in cleaner. We work on getting the oil filter out. We were working on an oil change. That's not going to be possible to do at the moment. It's not a biggie, but it still needs to be done. All right, that looks pretty good. It actually has the O-ring on it. So somebody might have gotten in here at one time and done something. And there's our little cartridge filter. Doesn't look terrible. I'm going to put a new one in. We'll put a new one in. And it doesn't look nearly as bad as I expected. It is gummed up and dirty, as you see right there. Kind of maybe see a lot of oil and maybe some particles or some kind in there. They're not going to worry about those. Like I said, we're going to get in there and put a new one on it anyway. So we'll just set that up there for the time being. And let oil drain on out here. I wanted to see what the oil looked like. Obviously pretty black. Definitely not a real fresh oil change like a week before they sold it to me or anything. It's definitely been in there a while and running a while, and probably well overdue for a change, although it was at the proper level on the dipstick. Dipstick is right here at the top of the engine. But we'll get as much as we can out, put fresh oil in, and see how much quantity goes in. It's supposed to take 1.6 quarts, so we'll see how much we can get out and then how much more we can get back in. And I'm going to put a little seafoam in with this oil. This is just going to be a temporary oil fill, which we will run it a little while, drain it all back out, and put some fresh oil in. We want to flush through this oil about 2 or 3 times because I don't feel like it has been as cared for as it needed to have been. So we'll let that drain on out here, and I can make my trip to the parts store. Okay, well, we're out here on a nice, pretty Sunday afternoon, back working again on the ATV project. And while we ran into some problems with the oil situation yesterday evening and could not find any parts at the auto store, so I had to go to eBay and order them and wait a few days for them to come in. But we're going to take loose the gas line here, drain the gas tank, probably take it off, blow it out, all that type of thing. So we'll get started on that. Just going to open this little clip here, and I'll need both hands for this. We just slide that back and connect a little hose into the bottles, drain it, and go from there. Well, we got the gas drained out, so it seems. Just gonna check a couple of other settings here and be sure there's nothing left in the reserve that needs to be drained out. Yeah, a little bit in the reserve coming on out. Gas doesn't look too bad. The person I bought it from said that he had put fresh non-ethanol gas in, and I actually believe that's what we got here. So that looks pretty good. We can save that and move forward from here. Next step, I think, is probably going to take a real good look in that tank. Uh-oh, got a problem. Hold on. Ran out of capacity while I was busy talking. Let me correct that. To get the gas tank off, a little bit of a procedure. You have, starting here, a latch that simply pulls up and unlatches, and that unfastens the gas tank there. You have 2 bolts, one here and one here, which I have already taken out, that hold the side plastics on. And then to get the rest of the side plastic off, in order to get to the gas tank, you have a front piece with a bolt here that we will unscrew, and another one on the other side. When this piece comes off right here, then there's 2 bolts back up in there behind it, which you might can see. Those 2 hold the front of that on, and when I get all that off, the side plastics and the front plastics will be off, and the gas tank can be accessed. That's all for today's video, folks. Join us now for part 3. I take the machine to a friend, and he and I together work on the bike to install some fresh parts. So don't miss part 3. You'll enjoy it. If you're not a member of our channel, we ask that you please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you would like to follow the series. You will be notified when we post new videos. And there's a lot more coming. A lot more coming. This is going to be a long series because we are going to take everything and redo it on this bike. It's going to be nice when we get through. I promise you.